I flipped my drawers already this morning after that goddamn training camp thing. I had to flip my drawers over.
Why did you put them on the air conditioner when you was doing your show?
I did. So that's what I did. So I got to the room, I put my drawers and I shoved them in the vent, and I turned the air conditioner on high fan, and it dried them out. And then I flip them over and put them on because
it's like a new pair of drawers, huh?
It's a new pair of drawers because the outside of the drawers didn't touch nothing but cotton.
They got jeans on it.
They got jeans. That ain't bad. The inside of it was in the motherfucking sewer system. Man, that's so funny. I didn't know that nobody flips their drawers till I started messing with y'all. I thought everybody flipped their drawers.
I just put a new pair on. If I gotta flip them.
That's expensive. I got drawers at the house that I done rubbed the ass out of. The whole ass as a whole.
Wait, what? There he is.
You guys are missing flex for me?
Yeah, man. Mr. Flyers, dog.
Man?
All was good?
Man, it's my pleasure.
What's happening with you, brother?
Boy.
It's my
How
pleasure.
you doing?
Good to see you, man.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, you right there, Coach?
You got that big boy on. Oof.
You know? Ooh. It was a statement piece.
Yes, it
no.
is. Yes, it is.
No, there's a funny story behind that. So I was talking to a team last year about like it was like OTA 5 or something. And I was like, this practice, I knew we have something here because of the guys, like the team that I inherited was a shell of what they were playing at the time. And so I made a bold statement, and they didn't know who they were messing with, right? So I said, like, all right, I'm gonna go to the jewelry store and make an irresponsible decision. I'm gonna spend way more money than I would ever spend on anything. And it makes me the dumbest person in America if, I get fired next year.
Right.
I'm out of gas. This is totally irresponsible. It's a solid investment. If it is what I think it is, right? And so they just thought I was just talking shit. I went to the watch store and they threw like a special edition 1 of 25 at me. And I was like, okay, it's fate. So that's how I got the watch.
Right.
And it says 246 on it, which is the time that I got hired. And it's a great investment as long as I'm right. So it represents a lot of things, but that's why I wear it all the time. And it is loud.
Nah, I mean, it's definitely loud. And,
Yeah.
and you aren't necessarily loud, but in the way that you speak, let's just say it rings, it rings volumes throughout the sports world.
Hold up, limitless, niggas to me cap pinning it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling, got me up. On the mission, got me up. Knowing me, I got the key. Only vision I can trust. Limitless, niggas to me cap pinning it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling, got me up. On the mission, got me up. Knowing me, I got the key.
This is Chan. He got his Miami Dolphin colors on for you, Coach.
No, this would be important for you guys to introduce yourselves. I have no idea who you are.
Yeah, this is Freddie T. That's Freddie T.
I tell
I'm
him,
RC.
I tell him.
I'm more so introducing ourselves to the people, Coach.
Okay.
Hopefully you know who we are.
Are you kidding me? Like, when Ann told me about this deal, I was like, I have to do it. This is literally the only moment that isn't scheduled out. And it's honestly my honor. Like, you guys have no idea what you're stepping into. Just a straight up fanboy. There's elements in your guys' career that shape what I'm doing now. So like, on a door that I have going out to the practice field is fast, physical, elite technique. And you develop that mantra over, that's something that I wanted the team to look like. And one of the first exposures was 2012 in Pittsburgh in those throwback,
So ugly.
but so like intimidating. Like it was like a crew of bad dudes. And we showed up and there's one play in particular. And just so you know, I'm not bullshitting, okay? It was tight will me 6. You remember that call? Mm-hmm. And you were a quarter safety, Ryan, at about 12 yards. And we had full flow with Daryl Young, our fullback, who was a former linebacker, and he was a thumper, and it would always bring it to people. and we've been working on our combinations all week. We'd practice against Jim Haslett's version of the defense, and we go full flow. We catch tight when we 6. You're playing a quarter of the field, and you trigger with 0 hesitation and short neck DY in the C gap on the line of scrimmage. And it was like, what just happened? We just got a premier look, full flow run versus 2 shell. The dude didn't cheat it, and then kamikaze right in the C gap. That play style hangs with you, and then there's other players, right? Then I knew you as Freddie with the gold fronts. now you're corporate, I mean, but there's a phrase that I use with running backs, because one of the tough things from the college to pro transition, you know, you're so used to just being able to run around people. And like in the National Football League, the way pursuit is, like you're doing the entire defense a favor if, as you try to make somebody miss, you break down, right? Then it's tattoo, ear hole, fumble, all that stuff. So you had a natural way of what I call slashing. Like you were a 1-foot cutter that would find edges of defenders that would keep yourself away from pursuit.
Yeah.
Slash running is something that literally all the running backs that we have on roster, working with Chris, that's what we look for. And then my man right here, can we get some stories about your mouthpiece? Because it's legendary.
What's that?
He talked cash money, coach.
Your lore still is around. I remember right at the beginning of my career, because when did you come out? 5?
Yeah.
So my first year in coaching was 05. You were a mic that could thump, but for some reason, you or somebody around you was always getting personal fouls. Taunt, like, you know what I mean? And like, there's just some legends out there.
Yes, sir.
Coach, that ain't changed now. We've almost been canceled as a podcast 3 or 4 times,
Bro.
based off of Channing just speaking his mind.
I would say coach is the chanting of coaching. Coach, you say whatever the hell pops in your
No,
mind,
but
too.
I mean, if you're not close to being canceled, you're not even trying, right?
Coach, I want to hear a story and see how true this story is. Your Denver Broncos, I guess, tenure and a love connection was made because you were trying to be sneaky and get double autographs from
yeah.
the same guy.
Yeah, I was that guy.
Right?
Yeah.
And you lost your Charlotte Hornets hat.
Right.
They said it was a fire hat, though, Coach. You
Yeah,
you can't just put it
It was
down.
fitted. It was like right in Grandmama Larry Johnson days. And it was it was loud. It was a teal with purple rim. And yeah, I thought it was too noticeable. So Robert Del Pino was the guy. It was my passion then. I was riding at 7 o'clock in the morning, riding my bike solo to training camp and getting before from dorms to breakfast, and then to breakfast to, at that time it was 2-a-days and dudes getting taped. And it's funny how life you can get these curveballs or these opportunities that are so fortunate when you're just chasing your passion. I was just trying to get autographs, and I didn't want to be that guy that was like, I already got you today. I had more cards to get signed,
Right.
I see that as an advantage because I come from such humble beginnings that, if I do it the right way, you never lose that perspective. It's easy to get caught in life, just the ups and downs of the little stuff, and how far that has come is never lost to me when I'm executing my job now.
Yeah, we figured we'll just call this Johnny Manziel Day.
Yeah.
We didn't do any research.
Oh, yeah?
0 research, and we definitely didn't watch any film.
Oh, 0.
0.
Dude, I was there. I was there too. I was there. I was there, and I was getting the reports of 0. That is real.
How do you go to the GM coaches say, hey man, look, Johnny don't know nothing. He ain't look at no film.
I tried to stay in my lane at that time. It was kind of a hairy situation. You know, it's up in the air whether or not there was congruence of thought in that draft selection, let's say. So we knew what it was, and at that time it was more like C. You know, yeah, that was a wild time there.
And Coach, how about your path? Because they was talking about the coaching trees and the Kyle Shanahan stuff and where you came from. And the paths of everybody's so different. We had Sean McVay on, who I know is a good friend of yours.
Yeah.
And y'all's paths are so different than what we're used to with those old 75-year-old head coaches, and they call y'all young gurus. How are guys like you able to be in the position you are now? What's your path here?
Forward thinkers that have nothing to do with us. Mike Shanahan, Kyle Shanahan, giving us an opportunity, like when we're as hungry as all get out. And the good thing about it is if you're in power in those situations, we all knew what time it was. We had something to prove. Like when you're a young coach, like don't get it twisted. Since I got into coaching at 22, I know exactly what people are thinking the second they see me when they don't know me. And that's how young guys feel. And so then you better be on your stuff. And you know, I learned early that the game of coaching is not hard. I look at players, and it's something we talk about as an organization and we do with the Dolphins all the time, is like, dude, you've worked your whole life and you have this window that is an opportunity that is finite. How precious, how sacred that is. And really, in that window, all players want is someone that can help them be better. So the vision of Mike Shanahan and Kyle Shanahan connecting the dots, you know, it was a risk on them. We were getting called in the paper the fun bunch and kind of like, and people were hating on Kyle, saying he just hired his friends. And he wasn't the nicest to all of us, so I wouldn't call us friends. No, we're very close, but like it was that, and then knowing that, okay, players just want tools to be successful, and they'll listen to anything and everything if it can really help. You know, I think it was very, very impactful for all of us involved, drafting Robert Griffin and him having run and shoot type offense, and then having a skill set like that, doing zone read and figuring it all out on our own, like as a coaching staff. That planted the seed for how we're all from the same system, but it all looks a little different. We got into it under the assumption that there's no absolutes and that you are problem solving to maximize your players and you don't hold back or resist how far you need to go to get that done. Yeah.
Channing mentioned guru, right? And I think that's something that's thrown around a little too often now in sports because coaches are getting younger and they expect that if you can earn this job at a young age, you have to have this exceptional level of intelligence, but you truly do. Ivy League educated, wrote your thesis.
I knew I loved this guy.
You wrote your thesis on ball.
I did.
You know, and
What was zero research?
he was joking.
Come on, man.
You said curveball.
Yeah, he wasn't talking about me.
Okay.
But so, Coach, and you write all 32 teams that you want any entry-level job. So this was truly what you wanted to do. And I love the fact that you mentioned Kyle as well, because until the Miami Dolphins, every NFL job you'd ever had, Kyle was a part of that staff. But you spent 2 years, or you spent some time away from the NFL, Coach. Can you tell me a little bit about what you learned about yourself in that time away and also coaching in the UFL?
Well, it's kind of like a life philosophy. What I learned, there's a relatableness that I have for players from the moment that I got let go in most players' journeys. That is, whoa, your identity is wrapped up in this deal. It's weird when you go on a come up of being on a team and then you do transition from team to team, but you realize that that is a big part of your own identity from within. And much like That's why I'm so sensitive about players retiring. Because all of a sudden, bam, I was so hurt and I was so mad that the situation got to where it got, that I had something to do with not being in the NFL at the time, that I knew that it was like, okay, this has to be a competitive advantage moving forward. I have to look myself in the mirror and not run from it and like eat it day in, day out, so that when I get back in, whether it's like staying a little later, grinding a little concept, thinking through different ways to try to communicate a thought to somebody, I needed to use those days away and never forget them. Never forget them, so that perspective can be had when, you know, you're in the NFL and you're in a 3-game losing streak. You know how that is. You go to work every day, right? And then you fail for 21 days. That's a long time. Mm-hmm. But how bad is that? Well, I had the opportunity to have some perspective. I better hold on to that. I better make that purposeful. The past is something you can't control, but in my opinion, through the present, you can determine what the past was. So you at least can take back control over something that, you know, you feel like you don't have any. I didn't want that to be the story. So, okay, I'm going to make that one of the things that is a big part of how we operate and what we do.
During that time you were away with the Cali Redwoods, I believe 2009 and 10, and knowing that one day you would get back in the NFL, is that the moment that you developed the mindset? And this is a quote from DeMeco Ryans. He said he learned from you how to be the first one in the building, whether it's 3 a.m., you know, attacking the run game, attacking the pass game, and just being a consummate head coach or a consummate coach on the staff where all the other guys learn from. Is that the time you...
Yeah, you know, I've always known that I was behind the 8 ball for a majority of my life with like things that I wasn't around my dad. I came from whatever. I had high aspirations. So I was always learning stuff. Like, I wasn't one of the guys on the football team, didn't learn how to be a dependable teammate until I was a junior in high school. Same thing in college. So learning, there's always been a humility, like, for me, where it's not that I'm right or wrong or I have the right answer, but I damn sure can learn some shit. And learning what it means to you, truly means to you, because it's taken away, can be the greatest gift. It just so happened that one of the reasons I was let go in Houston was because I was late a couple times. Well, part of me doing right by that was a non-negotiable. Okay, I'm a morning guy now. Mm-hmm. And that made me feel better about the journey because, okay, I learned from it. And then, that becomes infectious where then all of a sudden, I'd always been a person that when I wake up, I'm like 0 to 60. My friends would always get annoyed with me in college because they'd be like, dude, relax. I'll just be fun. And it was really easy because I was, those 800 plus days were in the back of my mind. And it's just kind of the way I operate now.
And Coach, the first time I met you, we were in the 72 Club. It was Stephen Ross, Dan Marino, Nat Moore, yourself, a bunch of other people. First time I ever shook your hand. You were the closest person to my age. I'm 40, and you're a young dude.
Yeah.
But being in Miami, one of the questions was your age, and that everybody's used to this old gray-haired guy. When I met you, I'm like, you're going to have the shoes on. You're going to have the Supreme ones on during the game. You're going to have the watch that can buy a house on. What was it like? But what is it like fighting against age when you're obviously good enough, you're obviously knowledgeable enough, you're obviously football savvy enough to run an organization, but everything is that he's young. He's too young.
All
He's
right.
too young.
Oh, soundbite. I love that shit. That's been the story of my entire existence. I don't fit any mold. And so, but what's nice about that, I love talking to an O-lineman. Now people know who I am, but like I was on 7 different teams. This is my 7th, 6 previous, and the last handful I've been working with offensive line. So the first time that they don't know who I am, and I come up and tell them something, they're like, but the reason why I love it is because when players learn from me, listen to me, when I'm able to do my job, I know without a doubt it's because I've earned it. And realistically, it's kind of perfect because, like, should I be entitled to people assuming I'm worth their attention, their investment? You know, it's like, I personally love it because it keeps it grounded to what it should be. Again, players, they have this one op. If I'm not the best person for the job, kick rocks, McDaniel. Like, you know what I mean? Like, who am I? Yeah. So, like, being young, I'm very aware of it, but it fits within the like the true organic way I think I should be. I think every day I should earn the post. Sometimes you just learn life lessons and it's always after the fact and then you're stuck with regret. Like, man, if I only knew. I don't want that for any player for the Miami Dolphins. None of our coaching staff does. So while trying to earn it every day, I'm really pushing them to max out stuff that will be totally sensical to them. But you know how it is, you just think it's gonna last forever or you're always gonna be on good teams. And like, I don't wish that on anyone. You know, Dan Marino talks about it all the time. I don't wish in year 2, I didn't get him. Oh, I'll be back.
It's not guaranteed.
And I think some of those challenges, like I really enjoy. I enjoy the fact that I'm not trying to be anything like anybody else. I think players see right through that.
Coach, when the O-lineman would look at you, like what you're talking about, did you tell him that you won the pound for pound strongest man at college, or did you did 39 pull-ups?
So I'm an extreme dude, okay? So like no one even, like, besides people that were around me in college, like no one's like even believes me because I overtrained in college. I wasn't that good and I tried to make myself, I was like 185 and I was lifting 6 days a week, working out 6 days a week and doing 2 days half the time, and I got pound for pound the strongest. And then when I stopped and I started coaching, I literally stopped working out. So
just done.
So like I'm just an extreme person. Like I was like, no one cares if I can lap pull down, 70% of what I could do in college. They care about if I have a tape prepared for a meeting. Yeah. So then I'm a little extreme with that. I probably should work out.
So my question is this, Coach. You talk about the offensive line. And I do think that the game has progressed to the point now where we've had enough coaches that don't necessarily look the part of player, because that's not your job. Your job isn't to get out there and do it. You were in a coaching staff room that had Sean McVay, a Matt LaFleur, and a Kyle Shanahan. Someone like yourself who is intelligent, who is a young guy, is now sitting in the room with what we now know were the young guys, right? To have that sort of room, and you start to work with Coach Forrester on the offensive line and go learn that, and that's just such a different way to look at ball. Like, I see ball from the back end, no matter when I watch it. If I go to a practice, I always stand behind the safety because that's where I see it. What was it like being in that room with those guys and realizing that sort of competitive friendship and relationship you can have with them to work to be your best? And why did you make the decision to start working with the offensive line?
been a career changer, probably one of the best things that I've ever done. And it was, again, goes back to learning. So often people think that you're supposed to know the right answer to stuff and get so bent out of shape if they don't or they fail. And, I'd just been out the league. And I'll never forget, it was so wild going back, working with Kyle Shanahan again. And I was his right-hand dude in Houston. And then there's these two other guys that have all this knowledge on the pass game. And so it's that time out of the NFL, that fear of that ever happening again. So you go in early as the earliest and make that a habit. But I was also like, these dudes are talking and they know a lot, might know more than me. I don't know. I'm not trying to get in that pissy match right now. But then we go to the run game portion of the cut-ups, and it's a dialogue between Kyle and Furster. And I'm like, this coaching thing's pretty wild. We jump around. What if I took this opportunity to be in the O-line room? Because, I knew from the onset, watching other tape, I knew Kyle Shanahan I was so fortunate to be around him because he was ahead of the game. So he was just putting out the best offense from a schematic standpoint, in my opinion, and I was in-house. How can I be the guy for him? Well, if I know what that O-line coach knows, those other guys don't know that, I might have some job security in this thing. Again, it goes back to instead of shaming yourself, owning it, but then making sure that past was a positive, not a negative. And it changed literally everything. It's cool because the whole game of football, all of offense now, can come down in its simplest form, in my mind, to what's very natural for receivers and DBs, a route tree. If you have a wide and departure stem, well, you better have every angle cut at the top. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, corners can overplay the route, right? So you have to have...
Play by the release.
And working in the offensive line, I started to realize everything was like that. You have to take away the wide and departure out route. When you do, this is opened up. That's schematically what football is across the board now, because I went from there and it was such an unbelievable situation with, Mike Shanahan and Chris Furster and Kyle Shanahan immersing into the run game. It gave me a different angle to work. I was coaching receivers and scripting run game stuff. Then I ended up going to a run game coordinator category and being able to, assist the team and work with guys and utilize, there's a creative aspect, a creative outlet that functions within play design, and that enabled me to do it. It was, I'm just so fortunate that the opportunity was there, and that I was of clear mind to jump on that, and people were willing to invest in me.
What's the transition? Because it's so, I can see your Terminator mask go down when you talk football and stems, and y'all are talking about these releases. Y'all said something about Willie Seam 6 or something earlier.
Tight Willie 6.
Coach, that was 11 years ago, and you're rolling the safety down and stonewalling the fullback. I can see that. But from that to being a head coach, the face of an organization, bigger picture, you're hiring people now. So you're talking about Kyle Shanahan bringing in his boys. Now, literally, you have to bring in your boys. Mm-hmm. What's that transition from being the schematic, the creative, to now being really, you have to run a billion-dollar organization?
I can assure you that I don't take it lightly. And I was also fortunate that I had a lot of peers. Not too many people get to go through that process. I had direct peers do it in front of me. And then one of them was worked with that dude for 14 years. And so he leaned on me for a lot. So I got to see what was in front of me. And common sense to me tells me it wasn't about the chase to get to the position. It was, what would be terrible is to get the position and feel like you weren't prepared for it. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. That would be terrible. So I got to watch, I got to think, I got to develop at my own speed. So I was really fortunate for that. I've been in the league for a while. It's been 17 years. I think this is my 17th year in the league. And like for a year and a half, all of a sudden people are like recognize me and tell me what I want to hear all the time. And it's like, what is going on? That there's parts of it that are all encompassing, and it can be an energy drain, but it is the most satisfying, complete job that I've ever had, because every day, I've always searched for this. Like, I love the idea that today is not going through the motions. Today is about something. And every single day, like, I don't know if everybody feels this way, but as a head coach for me, I feel like it's non-negotiable for me to walk in the door and have a thirst for, because it has residuals. Executing what I feel like is a responsibility to the 90 players as it is now, then it goes to 53 plus 16 plus all the football staff, plus all the coaching staff. That responsibility is so tremendous. I do leak energy, like I get tired. I thought I knew what it was. It's just at a heightened level. It really reaches all the aspects that I fell in love with coaching. There's some different stuff, but like, you just have to come to grips with it. Listen, there's some things that I know. If we lose, I suck. If we win, I probably get a little too much credit. Like in this job, different than the other jobs, like my job is literally problems. So getting your mind right about that so that you don't resist the problems that come to you. You have as much ability to fix the problem or do something about it. So I just go to work and I'm just bobbing and weaving. I'm more tired, but it's definitely the coolest thing in my life.
You inherited, or not inherited, when you get the job, you have a 4x1 team on offense. Whether it's Waddle, Tyreek, Mostert, there's all this speed, and you guys come out the gates on fire. And I kind of thought about it when you said, if we lose, I suck. I'm not good at my job. There were 2 different points where there were losing streaks last year to a team that was fighting for the playoffs, eventually makes it, takes Buffalo to the brink with a backup quarterback. When you're in those times, Coach, what do you use to keep yourself motivated and also your team as the head coach last year of the Miami Dolphins?
Our team's mantra that you can hear our players really gravitate to is adversity is opportunity. Like some of the most impactful things that have happened in my career, I vividly remember Mike Shanahan being in the tank we were 3-6 in 2012, Robert Griffin's rookie year. No thanks to you. And
I tell you what, Coach, I sure appreciated that throwback pass to him, though.
Okay, funny story about that. So, one of the things I was able to contribute that week, we all contribute our various things, but Josh Morgan, I knew that he could throw. And so in practice, we go out there and he just layers a ball. And it's a dime. And I'm like, that's awesome. And Matt LaFleur's like, dude, he better not hang the ball up that much. And I'm like, Matt, you worry too much. And Matt LaFleur was right. You closed. One of the most impactful things, though, is I remember Mike Shanahan in times that I was just in the tank, one like that 3-6 year, and him just exuding confidence and being like, wow, I don't know why I was so down, but he's so right. And I'm not sure if it was messaging sometimes or just how he carried himself. Bottom line was, I went into the job, I'd tell my wife this, she'd get mad at me, I'd talk about adversity, but I was like, I cannot wait for my first 3 games losing streak. That's what I was saying last off season. Because to me, that's when people need a head coach. And if I want to be a head coach, like, cool, 2-game winning streak, 3-game winning streak, high fives. But like, the true test is, can you be a part of, help facilitate, be surrounded with the right people to dig out of those inevitable adversities? And for whatever reason, I said 3-game losing streak, because I that was just off the rip. So the first losing streak I had was 3 games. Like the past is only what, to me, you say in the present it is, or you dictate in the present that it is. This year, this off season, has been incredible. There's a connection to me that's stronger. To me, that was developed in those 3 and 5 game losing streaks, because you're stripped down, and a lot of times people show you exactly who they are. But I already knew what it was. Like, people are upset that the Dolphins are losing. Should that bother me? No. The hardest thing in the world is when you have no control. And so that's all people that are rooting for someone, you have no control. I cannot stand watching close basketball games. Because I'm like, dude, this is miserable, man. And so, like, I understand that, and that's part of it. And I feel like if I'd expect anything else, like, who am I to be entitled to it? So obviously I didn't want it to happen, but I will say that this year there's been a tangible difference in our connection as a team. Like, you guys get it, like most people don't. Lose 5 in a row.
Yeah.
You know how to, you give one player a day off. A lot of times you're not using it. There's a lot of guys that are doing stuff on that day off.
Yeah.
It is every day, all waking hours. Your family's not around, your friends aren't around, because you are committed to this. Build up.
Yeah. Lose.
For 5 weeks in a row. I mean, that is a hot mess.
Yeah.
But like, it's also, the players deserve, the organization deserves, and it was so cool. And they'll never forget what it was like to win a game. I think we won it 11-6 to get in the playoffs. And all week, no one gave us a shot. And believe me, I played a lot of the narrative to the team of, like, no one gave us a shot. And that whole experience all leads up to something that's so powerful for our team, who was new, hadn't had a Sunday night television game in like 20 years, hadn't won a playoff game in 23. We're in the playoffs, and we almost pull it off. That was a testament to a complete grind of a year that was so up and down. We started on the map, and does the head coach work in IT, the quarterback's a bust, and the team is whatever. Then you start to get some success, and you have a little notoriety, it's taken from you, then you have all this stuff go down, then you start winning again, then you go back down. And then to come together and be that close, now as an organization, as a team, our goal isn't to go to the playoffs. Like, you know, so that's huge, but also, like, really what a team can do. We started a right guard at right tackle. We had 2 guys that had started on the offensive line all year playing that game. 1 guy that was playing his position. You know, Skylar was a rookie. You know, the list of things is endless, and you still found a way. So I wouldn't take any of it back. To me, this offseason, our team has made it purposeful, and that's a beautiful thing to me.
Coach, the game is the game. We had an opportunity to sit down with Mike Tomlin, a guy who absolutely loves Ryan as one of his former players.
Damn, I'm definitely not the coolest person you've had on set.
But so many responsibilities as a head coach, a lot of micromanaging. We've heard the sound bites with, you and Tua. We've seen you and Jalen Ramsey at the Heat playoff game. It seems you have a genuine relationship with these guys, right? What are some of the strategies you use to develop these strong relationships, or is it just part of who you are as a person?
I think it goes back to empathy of I'm a coach. So inherent, my job is to serve players, and I don't take it lightly, nor do all the coaches in our building. It's infectious. Listen, we're telling you to do something, and you are going to be judged on that. It better be the right thing. And you have to build relationships, understanding that you don't know the walk of life of each individual. 10%. But there's so much stuff that goes on, I don't feel entitled to, oh, you better listen to me. I better earn it. I better earn your trust.
Yep.
You better believe that I know what I'm talking about. Henceforth, I don't really think it's a bad thing that, I've been going against it my entire life. I've never looked the part of anything. That's okay, because that just means it's on merit. And these dudes, this is their dream, and you have an ability to directly affect it.
Right.
And so I think it's important to set forth relationships, but it's dually important that you have to jump at the opportunity to do right by players and correct them. And I don't think that has to be weird. I don't think you have to yell at someone, or you can't get too close to them. I can know that what makes you tick, so I can better respond to your behavior. But bottom line is, you need me to tell you when that's some bullshit.
Real talk. Coach, you have great sound bites, not just good. You and Justin Fields on the sideline, thought that was a good one. It didn't stop him from running and
No, it
scrambling.
didn't.
By the way.
Terrible listener.
Yeah, it was
Not coachable.
uncoachable, at least by the other head coach.
Yes.
For sure. Yeah. You've decided who you're going to kiss, marry, or kill of your coaching friends, Sean, Kyle.
That was my first day.
You probably grown now to know you don't have to answer every question. You were the unmatched champion of best interview in the AFC East.
Man, that's why that's why I got in this.
That's not why you got into it.
No.
But that brings me to the point of how tough the AFC East will be this year. And no matter what you look like, you're a football dude, right? Football dudes see those challenges and get excited, because that's why we got into it, right? We want to play the best. We want to beat the best. And now you have that opportunity.
You were leading right into, it's one of my many rants I've had this offseason.
Well, tell us a little about your rant.
It's perfect, because in my journey in football, the best teams I've been on, the teams that have gone places in the playoffs, that have gone to the championship games, that have gone to the Super Bowl, every single year there was multiple teams in the division that were playoff teams, and they were wars. And couple times, this last one being the exception, but before that, when I made it to the playoffs and lost, 2012 was an example. We were the only team that made the playoffs in the division. If your goal is to not just make it to the playoffs, that's perfect. The idea is you're trying to be your very best, and you're pushing your team to be the best. So inherently, you have to play the best. So I'm fired up because I know what that means. Now, because we don't want to gift playoff spot and then get tattooed in front of 30 million. No. You want to be ready. And yeah, in the division, it is strong. I could make an argument or it wouldn't be outlandish to say any one of the teams, and I'm saying any one of them, could win the division. That's exactly what you want. Like, what are we trying to do? So, like, if you're chasing it and there's only, one team that's happy or whatever, you bottom line is you're never going to get around the fact that you have to play the best. And I know our division is going to be a chore. Outstanding. That's what you want.
Yeah.
You
Coach,
know?
how do you now, when you're in front of your team, and you say that, right? You say we have the opportunity to play the Josh Allens, to play the Bill Belichick's, like those are the people we need to be just to earn our spot in the tournament. When you look out into your room, right? When you look out into that meeting room, do you feel you have the guys to do that?
I 100% know that we have the people capable of doing anything and everything we want in this season and within the league, which is why it's almost like a relief, because we don't have to worry about the Jets. We don't have to worry about the Patriots. We don't have to worry about the Bills. We have to worry about our daily investment on our craft. Like, go down the list. The formula is very simple. The greatest of what? You want to go Jordan Kobe direction, Steph basketball, you want to go Muhammad Ali, you want to go any sport, okay? And that it's not like they're like, I'm going to be awesome on that game over there. They're not worried about the game over there. They're worried about today. And they obsess about it. And they are constantly, in a secure fashion, not satisfied with their game. Constantly. Again, last year, I'm not sure if it would have happened this offseason. But when I tell you, from OTAs to now, the focus of the team, like other good teams have been on, has been about getting better in the real way. And that's what excites me. You don't know what's going to happen. Injuries are a part of this game, circumstances, things that you can't control. But I know that the guys are understanding and operating that way across the board. I look at super talented individuals, and they are putting their best foot forward in the craft that they've made their lifetime objective. Like, everyone is on one.
Coach, you're intense, bro.
Yeah?
You're well fucking thought out. Like, you go deep into shit. Do you bullshit? Like, what do you do for fun,
yeah,
man?
no.
Like, you walk through the grocery store and say, if I go down aisle 7, I can get the meat more efficient. If I go to the like, do you just bullshit and hang out?
No, I do, but heavy investment. So here's this little thing.
Damn,
We're sitting on a gold mine right now of just layups of human interaction, okay? So what's everyone doing now? They're on their phone. Like, I bullshit all the time, but it's just simply, I just invest in conversation. I have the worst phone etiquette known to man. No one's got a hold of me, like, in the last 2 years. It's like, they go through my wife. I'm a pretty random guy. I like comedy, and so if you want to, like, we could just go deep into this table, and I would make random observations. I bullshit all the time, but yeah, I'm a thinker. I better be thinking about some shit, you know?
Sometimes you just, shit, let's ride, let's go fishing. Let's catch a bass. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
there's an advantage to being in an industry and being in a role that you've obsessed about being in since you were 5, and that's rare. My motives have been to be great, and I knew that I was just a different sounding, looking, whatever. So I try to have reasons for everything that I do, and then I don't feel bad about it, because I know I'm gonna be wrong on some stuff. Humans are infallible. I think that's where people get messed up. Like, I'm a head coach now. I'm supposed to be right all the time. No, I'm not.
Wow.
I'm supposed to do the best thing with the available information. I mean, if cameras were on right now, my random off-color humor is premier.
Coach, all your players love you. I'll tell you that much because I talk to a lot of guys down in Miami. All your players love you. So I can see the relatability, but, bro, you are deep as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost forgot. I saw it when I looked at Chan's shirt. You have to tell us what your biggest pivot in life has been. What's that one moment that you can point to and say, this either changed me, this affected me, this moved me in a certain way?
Oh, yeah, it's easy. There's two pivots. I have sick basketball moves. I'm pivoting twice.
Hawk said you taught him using Allen Iverson.
I did. I've always used basketball terms because I think people, the terms, like a crossover, you make someone crossover and they naturally get in a release pattern. I use drop step too. January 4th, 2016, when I stopped drinking. That has been monumental. Again, things were happening in life and I wanted to dictate the terms. And I recognized, I had alcohol every day, but I realized that I was not addressing problems and running from them and hurting my wife at the time, so I stopped. And then when I stopped doing that, that control made me focus on doing my job and only my job. And that's when I started getting promoted. That's when it finally took off. And then October 2nd, 2020, when my daughter was born. So we'd been married for 5 or 6 years, been together for a while, and we didn't think it was in the cards. We couldn't get pregnant. We did fertility testing on both sides. And then push come to shove is actually Kyle Shanahan's wife, Mandy Shanahan, was with my wife one day where I was at work, and she like keeled over and threw up from like menstruation pain. And Mandy was like, "What is wrong with you?" And she's like, "Oh no, this just happens once in a while." And Mandy was like, "That is not right." They went to see this specialist. I was making enough money at the time. I was running game coordinator, so I could afford an exploratory surgery. Turns out she had endometriosis. Got that cleared out. Then the day before we left for the Super Bowl, San Fran against Kansas City, like wasn't even thinking, like had gone through the whole thing. And it was a big deal to me because, I wanted to be a dad. I had a lot of a bone to pick in my life about to rectify that. And it wasn't in the cards. And all of a sudden, randomly, oh, she's pregnant. What? And I tell you what, like everything that people say about fatherhood and being a parent, like yeah, I get it. And it doesn't even do it justice. I mean, it's been the most fulfilling, cool, daily thing. It doesn't even do it justice. It is everything to me. That girl, new words, her moods, the things that they say some crazy stuff, so innocent. I just hadn't been around it. I didn't have any siblings. These little kids are so happy with just what it is. Mm-hmm. And like, how do we lose that in our journey? Like, we shouldn't, but we should gain that back when we witness that, because it's just like the beauty of like a human being with no scars. Mm-hmm. When the world, it's okay for it just to be mom and dad, that they don't need it to be bigger. All of the insecurities and all of the things that come as we grow, it's just pure. And it's so, so beautiful I'm gonna be a psychopath. First of all, my wallet already has a hole in it. Second of all, these dudes that are trying to date her in her teenage years, man, you better believe I'm gonna have the most goonie of goons on our football team. Show up in a wife beater and flex on somebody.
Well, Coach, hey,
Oh man,
I got two myself. I totally understand.
It's crazy.
Coach. It is a beautiful
know?
thing to love somebody that at some point can do absolutely nothing for you.
No,
and you just love them because they exist.
what really gives us satisfaction in life is having like a true investment in something, true unconditional love. And it's the most powerful thing. It's so simple. I'm gonna go up to the hotel room. She's probably gonna make me watch Sing 2 for the 900th time.
You gonna watch it too.
And I'm gonna be all in.
You gonna watch it.
And you know what's funny is I always get to sit. She gets up and makes my wife dance to the songs in Sing 2. And I want to the funniest thing in the world is when it's been a long day for my wife and she's tired and doesn't want to do it, but my daughter will just like temper tantrum, like, Mom, get up. And so then she'll be like dancing, but like not smiling, just like mad. That is the funniest thing in the world. I'm like, oh my God, is this real life? You know, it's real.
You are truly a human that identifies with the problems of people. And that's what the job of head coach is. And I think, one, I'm truly fascinated by you. I just want to sit down and talk ball. And like, there's like all of these different stories and lessons wrapped up in the ball, but eventually we do get to the ball.
Yeah.
And getting to the ball, we also learn things about life. And I believe that's what human interactions should be, whether we're inside of a facility or out. Like, that's life. And so, Coach, we appreciate your time. Like, I know how much you have to do, man. This was amazing. And, you know, if you got some time next off season, I'd love to sit down and do it again.
Absolutely, dude.
Appreciate you, Coach.
I can't believe I tricked you guys into doing this.
What y'all ran with?
I made the pivot.
We're in your hood, man. We're down by Davie. You know, we definitely will stop in and check you out.
Yeah?
Yeah, man.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Coach, we appreciate you, Coach. This was amazing, man. We appreciate you sitting down.
For sure.
Yes, sir.
My man.
I feel guilty about keeping you guys this late.
No,
but-
Coach, that's awesome.
But
We
like,
appreciate you. We're here for you.
you guys are definitely jumping on a PJ,
Yes, sir.
so who cares, man?
Jeez,
we wish. Coach, we appreciate you, Coach.
Bro,
Thank
are
you,
you
bro.
kidding me?
That was awesome, Coach.
Dude, I
for
was
sure.
like,
You
And I
had
mean-
had so much stuff, though. I was like, man, I'm not even gonna get to it all.
oh man.
That's wild.
When we get back to
But it's real though.
practice.
You guys have been a part of my journey too.
Hold up, limitless. Niggas to me, God pinning it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling got me up. On the mission got me up. Knowing me, I got the key. Only vision I can trust. Trust. Limitless. Niggas to me, God pinning it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling got me up. On the mission got me up.